One, two,
Standing
go.
by. You know it.
Here we go.
Hey, everybody, you're listening to and possibly watching the Comic Book Bears podcast. I'm Bill Zanowitz,
I'm Steve Morey.
I'm Caleb Alexander McKenzie.
and we are your hairy, heavy homos that talk about comic books, but you don't have to be a hairy, heavy homo to listen in or possibly stream in. It's mid-July, it's hot, and I dealt with today, and I think it's gone tomorrow, but the orange skies from the forest fires in Canada.
Oh,
Yeah, they hit by us today here. We have an air advisory, but it's not like, don't go out or,
yeah. Oof.
I did bring a
Yeah.
mask with me when I went out earlier today, but I didn't put it on. I'm bad. I'm very bad. And also, I apologize. For some reason, the light above me, it looks like I died in Les Mis, like when that light comes down when somebody. So I don't know what to do, but I'm really bright here tonight. So sorry about that. And
You're always
You just
bright.
light up our
the
lives.
hair,
man.
the hair with the light, and I don't know.
I'm making up for it with my dark and brooding cave.
Okay.
With the hair and the
Yeah.
That curl. The curl.
which you can't see
Oh.
because it just blends in.
Oh, but yeah, today is it's just sweaty and gross here. It's not the hottest that it's been. A couple weeks ago, like especially 4th
Oh,
of
yeah.
July when it was in the hundreds. I mean, that's, but tomorrow's going to be super hot and then it's going to start cooling down because we're getting more rain. And we've been getting a good amount of rain. Thankfully not too much because we are prone to flooding. I haven't been in a drought, but it's been better
Yeah.
than it was for the past 2 months. So
That heat
It's been
killed
bad.
all of my birthday plans. Like
yeah,
all of them.
that is poo. Sad plants. Well,
Did you? I mean,
hopefully our
other than the plans, though. I mean, did you at least have a fairly decent?
No, it
Day.
blew.
Did it just
It
suck
sucked.
altogether?
Yeah, yeah, it just sucked. It stuck. You were just stuck in. It was just too hot. I made an attempt to see how it would be on Saturday or Sunday. No, Sunday, because Sunday was been the 5th, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Sunday would have been the 5th. And I made an attempt to see how that would be. And it was just like the air was just, like, even though it wasn't nearly as hot as the other 3 days, it was still so heavy, not necessarily muggy, but just heavy. And I was like, I'm going to be a sweat mess, 10 minutes in this. And, we were supposed to go see the Guess Who in concert that night. And, that just wasn't happening. The ball game wasn't happening. The beach wasn't happening. Nothing happened. Yeah.
Well, it's better to stay in and not die of heat stroke. So that's always a positive.
But also,
that's the positive way. to think about
next year is the big one. So, that can't go wrong, and my gift to myself is going to be Star Wars Celebration in April. So, a little bit of an early celebration, no matter what, and pushing plans to go to London back to 2028.
it. Okay.
Because I'd rather do that and have like money to burn.
Yeah.
It's not cheap there. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It's not going to be cheap at Star Wars Celebration either, probably. But
yeah, but
that'll be fun.
That's also like the kind of event that I think, just because I've never been to one, that I think just the novelty of actually being there is going to be
Oh, sure, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not like a Comic Con, because God knows there've been somewhere, I open the wallet and it's like fly, bitches fly, I don't know if I would do that with Star Wars, and also
I have
being
faith in
in Los Angeles and trekking that back, it's
Yeah.
I don't anticipate that, like even when the tickets went on sale, I mean, Tito like logged in all the merch, that you can buy when they go on sale. And I was like, nah, nothing.
Yeah.
So
There's more fun stuff to purchase in LA. There's plenty of record stores and things that you can be tempted with besides Star Wars merch.
Yeah.
So
and I'm gonna try to do it so I'm out there like 2 weeks. That'll be a lot on Rob though, with him being away and stuff. So
well, maybe I can squeeze a few days away from North Carolina and come and visit. Probably not for the Star Wars celebration, which would be awesome, but I did not get my tickets, and that's going to be too much. But I might be able to swing by and say hello.
All right.
Be all in the same place with you guys, which would be nice.
Okay.
Maybe. I don't know.
More planning, great.
More planning. Hey, I've got family out there. I don't have to hang out with you.
Yeah.
Let me brighten your day. I'm not.
But talking about planning, my friend Glenn, who used to be the bass player in AC/DC, he's coming to New York in December, and his over planning for stuff. Ooh. I've never experienced like the Glennism of it all, so
here's your itinerary. It's in increments of 5 minutes.
It's kind of like that. We're going to I didn't sign up for any of the Broadway shows he's going to see because Broadway's so damn expensive now.
Yeah.
It's like insane.
Those seats are not comfortable. They are not comfortable.
Yeah. But we're going to go to Darlene Love, one of her Christmas shows up in Tarrytown, I think.
Oh, cool.
Either Tarrytown or Portchester. So we'll have a very good Saturday. But I'll probably go into the city and meet up, and just when he hits, the shows, I'll, either see another show that's not $300, or whatever.
Yeah.
But it'll be good to see him because, hoping to see him in September, but that didn't happen, It's not going to happen, so.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of plans, not our plans, but big plans for a particular comic book company.
Yeah.
Big
New
moves.
York is not
Speaking
looking
of going to LA.
much like a comic book town anymore.
Not anymore. Well, it doesn't surprise me that Marvel announced publicly today. I guess they've been kind of talking about it internally for several months now. But the fact that they're moving to Burbank, DC made that move 10 years ago. And now Marvel's basically doing the same thing. And the big thing is corporate synergy, being closer to the daddy company, Walt Disney. So,
it's
and also
synergy,
aligning up the
it's corporate
studios.
synergy, but there's something that's being underreported, and that's that a lot of genre publishing has moved out to the West Coast.
Yeah.
Yep.
Across the board, non-comic stuff.
Yeah.
Well, that was what I was going to say. Like you mentioned, you said that New York's not a comics anymore. New York's not really a publishing city anymore. I mean, so much of publishing has moved to the West Coast now that it's just. Would you consider New York the hub of publishing in the way that it, used to be anymore?
Not in the way that it used to be. I would still consider it the hub just because the big corporate jobs will not leave.
Is Simon and Schuster still up there? Or?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All of the bigger publishers have some kind of presence or another, but it's spread out, and in terms of the in-house support, it seems that the West Coast would be a better talent pool at this point, for if there is attrition or something else.
Well, and they were even saying too, when they were talking
it
about,
doesn't matter anyway because everything is electronic now anyway.
Yeah, I mean, people submit from all over the world. You've got artists that are sending all their stuff in from the Philippines or Brazil or Argentina or wherever.
Yeah.
The one thing that they did mention though is when you look at domestic comic writers and artists, a lot of them are on the West Coast now, more on the West Coast than they are on the East Coast.
Yeah.
And so, if you have anything like a corporate retreat, or if you want people to come to an office, it's probably easier for the West Coast people now, and there's more of them out there. Not that it matters, but again, they're closer to their IP creation engine, and their IP use engine. On the West Coast.
It's also I think Marvel's in-house day-to-day staff is only
100 people.
Just 100 people, yeah.
Yeah, it's not that many. It really isn't that many anymore. So, transferring them all out there, I would think probably most people would want to make the transfer from New York, and some people are going to take it as an opportunity to retire.
Depends on age and where,
exactly.
That depends on that,
I'm very happy that there's at least one person not making that move.
Well,
he's moving somewhere else.
Yeah, as I told you, I have more issue with the editors that are under him than CB himself. And again, we just led perfectly into that news that CB Cebulski is moving away from the editor-in-chief position to some kind of leadership position with Marvel Comics Asia.
Yep.
And I believe, our friend Edwin de la Cruz used to work with CB over in when they were at Central Park Media, and I think CB has family out there. I think he does speak Japanese.
Yes, yeah.
So that
Well, and he was in charge of. He was basically working that office when he got moved to editor in chief. Like that was essentially what his role was. Is he was working for their manga department and running Marvel Asia. And so this is that was where he was at. And maybe not the same role, but that was kind of what he was doing when he got moved over.
No. He was.
He was. Yeah, he was also writing. He was writing for.
You're putting a lot of years between this stuff. You guys are putting a lot of years. When he was a writer, that was 2006.
No, I'm not saying. Yeah. I'm saying that when he moved over, he was working management for Marvel manga. That was where they moved him from.
Yeah, that's where he came from. Yes,
he came out of that, but he was already in different areas of Marvel corporate when they bumped him up to EIC.
Yeah, but he has the experience out there.
There's a lot of years you're not accounting for.
The fact that they're moving him back to Asia, the fact that he's going to be focusing on that again means that he was doing it before.
I'm not saying it wasn't, but he wasn't plucked out from that to the EIC position. That's what I'm saying.
No, but he was definitely doing more. He was there longer than he was in the US.
I'm not asking you, can he do the job? I'm asking you, will he do the job? Okay, so we had a Joe versus a volcano moment here.
So he became editor-in-chief in 2017. He was serving as vice president of international business development and brand management in Shanghai, China.
Yeah, so he's already been.
But he was in New York though too.
He was tasked with growing Marvel's presence and publishing deals and being in the town.
Do we really care though? I mean, all right.
Yeah, I mean, but this is an area where he's had a lot of experience. He's pretty strong in that. He probably has a lot of, I would think probably ideas that fit more of what Marvel's trying to do, because it's been hard, I think, for American comics to break in to the wider Japanese market. There's obviously, you've got manga Batman, you've got manga Spider-Man, you've got the original manga books that CB Cebulski actually did push, what was it, Spider Girl, the Octa, oh gosh, I can't even remember it, but it's one of the Spider Girl things, and then another a couple other books. But it's kind of tough because it's already a very established market out there, but he does have the history of working with Shonen Jump. There's a couple other things there that I'm hoping, for Marvel's sake, that they are able to even, further develop that market out there. Because it's been tough.
You know what? If it hasn't happened at this point, I don't think it is. It's such a different culture. and such
It is.
such a different method of consumption
Yeah.
of that I really don't think.
I
would imagine somebody in Japan that's interested in Marvel Comics is interested in Marvel Comics and not
Like,
some manga-ized version of what.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think what DC's doing with their Absolute line, that's translating well, or at least like Absolute Batman and stuff like that. That Daniel Warren Johnson, that style of art, I think translates well to that market. I think it's doing okay over there, but
because it's not a huge puddle jump to some of
no, it's not. Yeah, I mean,
no.
those artists were influenced by manga, so I mean, it's kind of coming full circle with that. But like when he was moved to editor in chief, I was on board. I was like, yeah, let him see what he's doing. Right, he's going to bring over some talent. That was kind of what he was doing over there. He was in charge of talent finding for them at the time, and I was like, let's see what he's going. And I was rooting for the guy. I really honestly, did not care about the whole Akira Yoshida thing to a whole degree. I think that was largely just a lot to do about not much of anything. But he's done nothing for Marvel since he's been there. That's like, it's just gone downhill. And I'm a Marvel dude, but like, I just cannot read like Marvel right now. I've almost gotten rid of all the books. I'm not reading hardly anything from them right now. I'm buying Hulk because I'm a Hulk completist, right? And that's like, they need something new, and he's not brought inspiration to
I
that.
think, yeah, and I think the Ultimate Universe return was supposed to kind of be that big kickstart to kind of pump up the rest of the brand, because obviously they tried it with the X-Men and it was doing okay for a little bit, and then of course but with the Ultimate Universe it was supposed to be this huge push, and it was a bump for sure.
But the books stylistically were so different from one another.
Yeah.
I think that was I think that was a big problem.
Yeah, they didn't really connect.
I'm like, yay,
easily.
It's a very different voice covering Black Panther and a very different voice covering X-Men. But at the same token, there's no correlation.
Yeah.
And even I picked up the universe finale, and just thumb through it, and like the way they try to integrate those three properties together, it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
I was even, and I know they were selling well and it was pretty popular, but even Ultimate Wolverine didn't really click with me, even though that was probably the most close property to Standard Universe X-Men.
Those, apart from Spider-Man, the sales on those all trailed off fairly quickly.
Yeah.
Spider-Man was A, good, and B, Hickman.
Yeah.
It
was a wonderful remix, and I'm going to miss the hell out of it already. But I do think the tale was told.
Yeah.
2 years is a lot. 2 years is a lot of space, and this Midnight thing, I have no interest in that thing.
I don't know.
I don't have an ounce of interest in that.
I liked the whole Dracula connection to the X-Men back in the day, but I don't know. I'm going to try it. I'll see what. I don't know. We'll see.
It's rare for me not to pre-order a Hickman book. I'm not pre-ordering that.
It is an attempt to be, Marvel horror in a way. So I'm all in for horror.
It feels desperate.
Well,
yeah,
they fucking lost me.
Sometimes desperate grabs work.
They need something. If they want to bring back like the vampire side of Marvel, they're gonna have to do something to make me forgive them for like Blood Hunt and then whatever Jason Aaron did with Dracula and his Avengers run. Like, because all of that was just like you salted the earth on this property for my enjoyment for a while. So
well,
I'm bitter. It's basically like I'm the bitter ex-boyfriend. A dude I really really liked hurt me, and I'm gonna be.
I have to say, Jason Aaron's Avengers,
garbage.
Like, if I could do it all over again,
I wouldn't buy it.
I wouldn't buy it. I wouldn't buy it. Like, there was no payoff
at all.
And
I'm an Avengers completist. I have all of that. I still get Avengers.
I thought I had that glimmer of hope with Heroes Reborn, because like the beginning of that was fairly interesting, and then it just petered. Yeah.
Peter, Paul, and Mary itself.
I
Yeah,
deserve
that's
better
exactly
in that
how we were supposed to.
relationship.
Yeah. But since we're talking about Marvel and how, like Caleb, I'm very much in your camp. I mean, the only books I got the Ultimate Finale. I got a facsimile of Silver Surfer from the '60s. I got Captain America, and I got the new Avengers books, and two of them are written by the same dude. And like, there's nothing else. I think I pre-ordered ASM 1000. That's on pre-order. There's some kind of I did get the black book, the blind bag for the new Avengers one. But
I don't even think I picked it up. Like,
it's not out till September.
Yeah. I don't think I pre-ordered it.
Yeah. So
no. You know me, the only Marvel book I buy nowadays is Wolverine, and that's just because.
And let me circle back to what I was saying, because Marvel is a very solid but an increasingly distant number 2 right now, and something had to happen with the EIC spot. So the new editor-in-chief is Steve Wacker. For me, he edited the most difficult book I think ever to edit, which was 52. And he's somebody who's very well respected, has a lot of tight personal connections with people. The only thing that's a little bit strange, though, is like they're all already working for Marvel. So I don't know if there's really people apart from Jeff Johns in terms of big names to pull. Maybe like a few back, but like, Jason Aaron doing a new Marvel thing that's not like a lightning bolt.
I have a question, and it's kind of something I want your opinion on. Like, when I think about people who have just a deep intrinsic knowledge of canon of these companies, both DC and Marvel, like obviously a couple names come to mind, like Mark Waid is one of them. Is he just not interested in being because to me, it's like you offer Mark Waid, the editor, like an editor or editor-in-chief job, that would be amazing, because that dude has an encyclopedic knowledge of basically all of these publishers. Does he just not want to do it?
He has been in with certain companies in the past in the counterpart role to that, and I don't think that's where his talents lie.
Okay.
I hope I'm being diplomatic with that.
Yeah. Well, and like Jeff Lemire is somebody else. Like Jeff Lemire has a deep knowledge of DC history. I don't know about Marvel history, but
yeah, that too.
What I think is Marvel would benefit from a continuity cop. Instead of them being serving in the top spot editorially, but at least in discussion meetings, having somebody that has that overarching knowledge, and you can pull them from podcast people. You really can. There's some very impressive historians, and also some people don't know shit. We're not talking about you, Caleb. I mean, there's people who prance when they should sit in the back.
Yeah,
let's put it that way.
What was that? What was that walking, the trotting aerobics video? There was that woman who had like
not jazzercise, prancer.
It was like prancer-size.
Yeah,
you got a prancer-size. I prancer-size 25 minutes every day.
Yeah, it's like the most milquetoast version of AC/DC playing in the back. Yeah.
I want to go back to the before times when I knew this didn't exist.
Yeah,
it does exist. Check it out.
You should.
It's almost as good as Renata, your dance instructor, your hardcore dance instructor.
But Caleb, it's worth watching once just to say you did it.
She's very sweet. Like, that's the thing. Like, this woman was so earnest.
Probably did this down at the Hadassah,
Everybody at the JCC really loves this, so I've got to come out and do this. It is the perfect exercise for 95-year-old women who do not have a cane. But Yeah, I don't know. I'm excited for what this could do. I don't know if it's going to make a huge difference in the quality of their output, but with a brand new person at the helm for the first time in about 10
There's
years.
always some kinetic energy when there is a change
Yeah.
at the top. There's always some kinetic energy, and it's just how that is harnessed, I think.
Yeah.
How well that is harnessed.
So we'll see. And
I do think Marvel is somebody that they couldn't bring somebody from the outside. Let's put it that way. That's not the type of operation that can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see what comes out of this. I mean, obviously, any changes, any new books or any new initiatives probably won't go into effect until sometime next year anyway, because these things take a while. They take a long time in planning, publishing cycles, all of that. But I guess stay tuned for 2027 to see what they've got coming out.
Mm-hmm.
They've got cooking. So
yeah.
But yeah. Any other big news other than the fact that SDCC is coming up in like a week?
I don't think so. We did talk briefly, given the news articles that have come out about the Stan Lee documentary, but we probably should reserve extended commentary on that until we actually see it. And it's not that far off. It's the VOD date is coming pretty soon.
Yeah. So that could be interesting. Could be some new insights. But yeah, I mean, there's just keep reading the comics. There's a lot of good books out there. And I guess we can start talking about some of those books if you like.
But it was also interesting if we can just like go back and like in my day, but there was a charm seeing people like Paul Levitz and some others, posting about there being a time where, DC, Marvel, Warren, I'm trying to think like what other publishers would have been in New York.
Charlton, I guess.
No, Charlton was in Connecticut.
Oh, really?
Gold Key was in Los Angeles.
Metro North Rail, just a hop, skip, and jump.
Archie would have been New York. Harvey Comics was New York. That you could hit like you could visit the publishers like within a mile of each other, and that must have been really cool. That must have been really cool.
I don't know if it qualifies really as being newsworthy, but I saw a clip or saw an article get put out that DC is bringing back some letter columns, and I think that's pretty cool.
I like that idea. It's kind of weird that letter columns are, especially in Image. I mean, most Image books have letter columns.
Yeah.
Nowadays. And some of them, even like issue number 1, will have letter columns for stuff that the writer or the artist or, whoever was working on previously and is like, hey, this book doesn't have anything to do with that book, but let's talk about what we liked about the other book. It is kind of neat sometimes to read those. I used to read them a lot as kids.
As long as people who are writing in there in the letters that they select have something worth saying. Now, there was some, I get reading back on, I was like, yeah, no, I get why they quit doing this, because people just say stupid shit and they publish it and for no reason. Like, as long as it's public, like, it's like if you're going to write in, have something intelligent to talk about if you want it to be published in the back of the book, please.
Did you guys ever write into a letter column?
No.
I was too shy.
I was too shy.
I did when I was 6 years old. I was 6 years old. And it was because Aquaman returned to Adventure as the backup, and Spectre was the lead feature. And I wrote a letter saying in my 6-year-old scribble, that the Spectre should be moving into a horror book like House of Mystery, and that Aquaman should be the lead, especially because he's on Super Friends. And I got a letter back. Which was like the JLA, the JLA mailroom. That was the masthead, and Tim Zanowitz, thank you so much for your your valuable your ideas. It was a stock letter, and I was like, they wrote me back. And then about a year later, Aquaman became the lead feature, and there was part of me that thought like I did that.
Oh, you did.
Like the
100%.
7-year-old
Yep.
version of me thought I did that.
You know,
That was the only time I wrote in.
I don't know, Julie. This kid, he's got some good ideas.
That was the only time I wrote in.
That's cool, though.
Yeah.
I never did any comics. I did some, like, when a couple of books had, like, they would publish tweets in the back. I got put in one or two of those.
Yeah.
But that's about it. Now, the only letter I wrote to any kind of thing like that is I wrote a letter to R.L. Stine as a school project one time, and the publishing company sent me some stuff back.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah.
Swag is good. Fan swag.
I wrote a letter like complaining about there was a minor inconvenience with how U2 released something. So I wrote a letter to Island Records, and I got tons of promotional shit from them. There was a box, and it was all like U2 and Frankie Goes to Hollywood and stuff I liked, and I was like, I should complain more often.
This is how we got a generation of Karens, is they gave us swag for being Karens.
Yeah.
And they wonder why we're so mean now. That's what Reddit columns are for these days.
I used to write into like some of the local music magazines,
cool.
Easy Rocker or Aquarium, depending when it was published, and Trouser Press, when that was a magazine. But like comics, apart from 6-year-old me wanting Aquaman to be the lead feature.
That's cool.
I wish I had that. That's one thing I wish I still had. I don't know what happened to it. The letter back from DC Editorial. That's something I really wish I had.
That would
probably
be cool.
Framed somewhere in a box.
No, I can't find it. No. Yeah, no. Not everything survived childhood. Like my giant size X-Men #1. Not everything survived.
My sense of wonder and whimsy, that died too.
Yeah.
My innocence is gone.
From the steam.
But somehow I'm like I'm okay with the whimsy and wonder, and I'd rather have giant size X-Men #1 in my hand.
I shall exchange my whimsy and wonder for this collectible.
But it's like, why did Weird War Tales #29 survive and Giant Size X-Men #1 didn't,
There's really no logic for that.
Why did that happen? Yeah. But, that was also a thing, like when I was a kid, like the 100-page super spectaculars and the giant size books. Oh my God, I could read them and read them again and read them again and read them again. There was something about the giant size dynamic that was special, felt special to really little kids.
Yeah. I mean, they're good because I used to do that with, God, what was that? It was a Disney Adventure Comics or something. It was a little digest-sized collection of Disney comics that they used to publish in the 90s. Where it was like, it's just digest size. You subscribe to it pretty easily, or it was at the newsstand or supermarket checkout lane. And it was always really fun. It would usually have like a couple leather columns. It would have tons of comics like DuckTales and Tailspin and, whatever else were in there, whatever properties, Darkwing Duck. And those were pretty cool. I know my brothers reread those a million times. I read them multiple times as well. Even when I was like, I'm too cool for school. I've got to read like real literature, like the entire Robotech novelization.
I have a friend who has a little brother, and there's a 17-year difference between the two of them.
Oh, wow.
And I say that as a retired Catholic, and that was like his little brother had stacks of Shonen Jump, but my God, those looked like he was hitting people over the head with them, and then dipping them in glue, and then hitting them in the head again. Like they were well read. Let me put it that way. When we were going through his stuff, yeah.
And those things were not, they were not small. Like, it was like 1,000 pages a week. Those things are crazy.
Yeah. All right. Enough on the past and enough on C.B. Cebulski. So I guess we should... That's the episode title. Enough with C.B. Cebulski.
And here we were talking about not being in P-Town this week.
I will not allow
Bear
that
Week
to be the title. Yeah, it's like
it is
I'm
not.
so well. Our our Silver Surfer Brian Pittard is out there.
Yeah.
I gotta say though, like some guys that I know that go every year are not there this year.
Well, it's expensive. We were talking about how expensive it's gotten. So.
Yeah, you could have a nice Caribbean vacation for less than the price of that. But my last time there was 12 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it was nice seeing those pictures again pop up in memories, and I did one post of it. But.
Well, I do know that there's a buddy of mine has 4 different shows that he's written for, drag shows he's written for, that are playing this week that he's out there to support. So I'm like, well, that's one thing you can't necessarily get in a Caribbean cruise is a bunch of comedy drag shows. Yes, you can get drag cruises.
Yeah.
You can get drag shows on a cruise, but really funny new acts, new comedy musical acts.
Yeah.
Every year that are written specifically for, this time of year.
Yeah.
So for Provincetown. But well, I guess we can talk about comics instead.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think we could talk about. So
let me put it this way: should we talk about comics? Absolutely.
Absolutely good idea to talk about a new Absolute book. So we've pretty much covered every single Absolute book as it's come out here, and so we're going to continue that.
Did we do Flash? I don't think we did.
I don't think so.
I don't think we
I
did.
haven't read that yet either, though. So
I think I might have done Absolute Flash number 1. I'll have to go back in the archives see if we talked about it because I have been reading it. Not as religiously as the rest of the books, though. I have to say, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and of course Martian Manhunter. Like those are the big ones, and then Flash, Green Lantern, Green Arrow, though, dang good, and Absolute Catwoman. We'll be talking about tonight. So, Absolute Catwoman. It is the credits say it is co-written by Scott Snyder and Shea Grayson. C-H-E, I believe that's how you pronounce her name. We did get to see both of them talk about this extensively at HeroesCon in the Absolute DC panel, which was really great. So getting to hear Shea talk about her inspiration, talk about why she loves this character, why she was writing for this book, was really fun. And it was good to then go and read issue number 1 afterwards. And so, we've had, I think the second book came out, it was either this week or last week. So I've read both of them. And I think, Bill, you've read the first one?
I've read the first one. I don't have the second one yet.
Yeah.
Because it just came out last week.
Yeah, it literally just came out. So, not for people who get, who order the books, and get them through, say, a service like DCBS, sometimes it takes a little bit of time for it to get there. But I'd say it is worth the wait. And I was really impressed with this. It has a very similar feel, to, I would say, Absolute Batman at the start, but really very quickly it becomes its own thing. And obviously Selena Kyle made several appearances in the Absolute Batman series, several issues, throughout the run currently. But in this book, it's really spotlighting her and her past, her, life as a, super criminal, basically, and her attempt to retire at the ripe old age of 25. 25. She's so old. She's ready to throw in the towel. Which is kind of, there's some maudlin moments in there too. It does skip around, I do have to say. So Absolute Catwoman, likes to play fast and loose with time. So there's a lot of flashbacks, flash presents, flash forwards. There are lots of different, jumping around in time in this book. And you would think at first that it could be kind of confusing, but I think it's very well thought out. And there's perfect threads that follow you through to the flashback. So you understand why you're seeing these different parts of her life and why, it's being brought up. And the cover art, as well as the interiors, are done by the artist Bengal. I'm not too familiar with Bengal's work, but I think it serves pretty well here. I'm very happy with it. And colors are by, I believe they are Giovanna Nero. And of course, letters by Lucas Gattoni. So someone we someone that we see very often. But yeah, so Absolute Catwoman, beautiful exterior art on the original cover, which is the one that I picked up. But then there's also been some really good, variant covers, which of course, if you're going to have an Absolute book, it's going to have about 1 million variants. So no surprise there that there is a lot. So if you're looking for something, you'll find something to your taste. But right off the bat, she is, trying to leave her apartment and someone is breaking into it. And it appears that these people are dressed very similar to what you would expect a traditional Catwoman to look like. And in fact, she sees them as duplicates of her old Calico gang, which she and several friends were, super thieves with a cat costume. But she's kind of gone beyond that. Her new costume is more like a nano mesh armor. She has Jonesy, who's her sort of onboard AI, a companion. And her tail, which is kind of a neat addition, is totally, controlled with her mind and can do all sorts of really cool things. Interestingly enough, she sees these characters, these other thieves that are breaking into her house, and she's like, well, they're impersonating my Calico gang. What is going on here? How and why are they dressed like my past? And just recently she had been visited, or actually that evening, she'd been visited by one of her good old friends, Holly, who used to be part of that gang with her. Holly shows up and she's brought a birthday cake, knowing that it's Selina's birthday, but she's hidden something inside the cake. It's a little sphere that she wants to make sure that Selina keeps safe. And she's kind of cagey. Something's happened. She's not really sure what's going on. And with her friend Holly. So Selina's just kind of like, you really shouldn't be here. Like, I don't want to be part of whatever scheme that you've got going on. I'm leaving that behind. And unfortunately it does not go well for Holly, because as she leaves, she's kidnapped by this copycat Calico gang, or copycat gang, which is a nice pun. And it is kind of sad. She does think back on when she was a kid, how she first met Holly, and, they were kind of foster kids together. They were both kind of street rats, or street cats. And they really kind of hit it off, but something's happened in the past. Something's broken her and the rest of the Calico gang up. Something's really separated her from Holly, even though Holly is kind of her oldest, dearest friend. So, it could have something to do with why Holly's being kidnapped. And why she has some kind of, it's like a sphere. Can't really figure out what it is. And if we jump forward to the latest issue, Catwoman number 2, Absolute Catwoman number 2, Selina's trying to figure out what it is, so she sets a trap. She sets a trap with the massive auction house, that is pretty much a clearinghouse for all sorts of strange treasures and unique items that the super rich love to bid on and collect. And through that, we also, again, continue with some more flashbacks. In fact, flashing back to her original crew when they were much younger, when they were teenagers, basically, breaking into Gotham banks, draining the money out of all the richest people in town. And what I thought was kind of clever, and I don't have an image of this if you're following along in the video, they had a list of all the richest people, the richest families in town. And it's striking to me, and obviously that's kind of one of the premises here in the Absolute universe, is that the Wayne family is nowhere to be seen. Mm-hmm. There's no Cobblepots anywhere on there. There's no Waynes. It's essentially all the criminal families only. So you have, the Bertinellis, you've got the Falcones, but there's no Waynes, there's no Cobblepots, there's no people that we've come to connect with the wealthy history of Gotham City in the main universe.
Were there any Canes on there?
No canes
No?
either.
Okay, yeah.
So it's it's kind of an interesting list. It's like these are all just crime families, and yet here they are putting their stuff in banks. Okay, sure, billions of dollars in bank accounts, which is wild. That quickly get drained, and it's interesting because we also get introduced to her crew, but not by name, just by their part in the gang. There's the super smart tech one. There's the, spoiled rich girl who's also, real tough baddie and wants to get back at her family. You've got Holly, who's the one with all the schemes. And then you've got, of course, Selena, who's the one to get the job done and herd the cats. And flash forward to the present, and she's realizing that something is connecting, that she's being reconnected to these people. And who are these people? Which is kind of surprising, and I love it. No major spoilers, but I'll just say who they are because they get introduced halfway through. You have the smart one, who ends up buying the sphere from her, and that is Victoria Sage. And then also, one of the toughs that's there at the auction house as well is a Helena Bertinelli, also, someone that we know at least in the other universes. But the three of them fight together against a weird shadow group that attacks the auction house, including one person who did make an appearance in the first issue and follows up in the second issue to steal that orb. And again, not going to hugely spoil this or anything, but if you've been reading it, if you read the first one, we have an appearance by one Cassandra Cain. So, really cool. We're getting some interesting people together here. We're getting some names well known in the DC universe and in other versions of the Bat family. But here they're not the Bat family. It is the Selena Cat family, her old Calico gang. But I'm excited to see where this goes. I'm really curious to know what this version of Vic Sage does. How much of a badass this Helena Bertinelli is, if she is the Huntress or something else completely different. Not really sure. But also how Cassandra Cain connects to the whole thing. So just really cool. Very excited. Very much enjoying, the series so far. And again, it's only been 2 issues, but just like Absolute Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, I'm here for the long haul on this one. And Green Arrow too, because Green Arrow has also been pretty damn cool in just 2 issues. So
yeah,
we'll see.
So you both mentioned that you weren't super familiar with Bengal or however you say it. I know Bengal from the Remender book, Death or Glory. He's actually done 2 books with Remender. The other one I have not read, but I actually like his art a lot. The other one he did was Napalm Lullaby, but he's a French artist.
Yeah. Oh,
so he's got
that's right.
He's got some credits on some different books, but has done a lot of covers for like Marvel. Did some of the Spider-Gwen covers and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Not somebody that I've seen do a lot of interiors other outside of the Remender books, but I like his art. I have not read this yet, but it's on my list of things to do.
Yeah,
I do recommend it. Pick it up.
That was my familiarity was from the variant solicitations for at least the all new Ghost Spider.
Yeah,
Gwen series.
Well, and I pulled up his profile on Comic Vine because I wanted to see. By the way, like I really wish there was a better resource for. There used to be some really good like Comics DB and stuff like that. Comics Vine is, for me, it's about the best thing. So if you're ever wondering and looking up artists on like what have they done, Comics Vine has got a really good resource for that too, just in general for nerds out there.
Okay, so my resource, but it's always like a little bit behind the times because it covers a lot.
Yeah.
Is Mike's Amazing World. Yeah, and that's the most fun one. That's the most fun. Like if that site ever goes away, hide the razor blades from me, seriously, because like there are certain sites I hit every day, and that's one of them. I did read Absolute Catwoman, #1, not #2 yet. I loved the structure and how the first fight scene is like 3 pages in. I love the concept of the Calicos as a team. As somebody who's had a number of Calico cats, they're all out for themselves, you know? And I kind of love a group of them together. I was a little bit disappointed hearing about your reveal for Vic Sage, because in my head, they all would have been somebody in the other universe who at some time was Batgirl. So I thought
that
you
would be
have,
really interesting.
So I thought you would have had Stephanie. I thought you would have had Betty Kane. Helena was. I thought the reveal in issue 1, I saw that coming a mile away.
The fight scene, I think, was kind of the tip off. That was the
only disappointment in that. But I think Selina's fascinating. I think she's a fascinating character, and just a really good sense of self-awareness of knowing that she only has a limited time to live like this. And that seems like a more mature version than what we have in, the main universe, who's, at various points just a mess.
Just living by the seat of her pants, just kind of like,
this
going
one,
from...
and I, again, like, these are remixed versions of the characters, and I like that type of confidence out of Selina. She still basically is the same backstory of being an orphan, but now is fabulously wealthy, probably not through like a lot of legitimate means. And I like that unfolding story. I like that she had a gang, and I want to know a lot more about King Rupert.
Oh yeah, King Rupert.
Yeah.
He's a very regal kitty. So one of the things that I noticed right away, speaking of the remix version of Selina here, is that she is where she is right now, basically on the way to retirement. She has the resources and the equipment and basically all the accoutrement of a Batman, of a Bruce Wayne main universe Batman. She has her cat cave. She's got, transforming motorcycle to mecha cat equipment. Like she's got everything that the Bruce Wayne in the Absolute Universe does not have. That that you come to expect a Batman to have.
She has a cat
cave. She's got
cave.
the money. She has a cat cave.
It's literally called the cat cave.
The cat cave. Yeah. But she's got like all sorts of high tech stuff. She's got all these things, which you kind of understand because she had the team, she had the Calicos together. But now, since all of those people have spread out, she's basically taken on all the roles herself. She's got the tech, she's got the money, she's got the ideas, she's got the whatever to go ahead and amass this wealth. And she's not the philanthropist that the Selina Kyle in the main DC universe is. Holly takes that role. The one who drains all the money to give to charities, to give to, to orphans, to give to cat shelters and things like that. Whereas this Selina Kyle, she's like, I've got to protect me. I've got to look out for number one, make sure I'm comfortable so I can get out of this.
Almost sounds like the Catwoman from the Gotham video games a little bit.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but this one definitely, it's not even a, I just got to do one last job and then I can retire. She's already made the decision. She's like, I'm retiring. This is it. And then she gets pulled into this mystery that's, re-engaging the people from her past. So I'm really excited to see where, Shay takes this. And, the dynamic between Shay Grayson and Scott Snyder here is that Scott, obviously is the architect for the Absolute Universe, but I think here he gives Shay a lot of freedom to, direct where the story's going. So I'm excited. And I like the way she writes.
That is so interesting you said that, Caleb, because when I was reading it, this felt like, to me, the Gotham TV series Catwoman. Like that version of Selina.
Yes.
Yeah.
It feels, and the amazing thing is that actress is like 26 years old now.
So she's the right age.
Yeah. So that was the voice that I had, with that, with, oh God, what was her name? Carmen Bicandova. Does that sound right?
Carmen sounds right.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Bikindova. Yeah, they all had weird pronunciations. It was like 3 years before I realized it was David and not David, for the lead kid.
Yeah.
But I had that kind of contemporary feel, and then I'm just thinking, like, when I looked up her age, it's Carmen, that's her name. She's like 20. I was off by a year. She's 27 years old now, and it almost feels like we've grown up. This is that version of the character grown up.
That's a cool
kind of
concept,
street smarts, and I really like Steve agreeing with me on that.
Yeah. No, I agree absolutely with that, because it's just, she has that look, because the actress, Carmen, I wish I could get her last name, but I can't look that up fast enough. But, she had such a unique look and a unique portrayal of Selena, as a young Selena, really, in the Gotham series. This would be great to see her grown up, and playing this version of Catwoman, because I could absolutely see that. Yeah. And that could be, Bengal could have easily taken some inspiration from, the look, to design this, but, it's the way that she's being written, her attitude, her, her kind of like self-directed determination of what she wants to do. 100% she's got to do this thing. Yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah. And there's just a very confident sexiness to her. In the art, but that's also married with just being excellently adept at fight scenes. So like Bengal is, let's raise a glass to them, man.
Do you know there's really one thing that I noticed that the Selena does not have?
What's that?
She doesn't have any cats.
Well, that we've seen so far.
I mean, her apartment in London blew up. Hopefully she doesn't have any cats in that, because they'd all be dead.
Hopefully King Rupert's not there.
No, King Rupert's probably long.
I hope King Rupert's still alive.
That'd be great. There is the hint, though, and she does say this, and this kind of fits with this version, when she's touring the villa that she will be retiring in Italy. They point out, her friend or major domo or whatever points out that there's a panther or a puma, some kind of cougar or whatever, that lives on her property, and they haven't been able to to tame her, to get her out of there. She's just like, yeah, he's maimed. Everybody else has come near, and she's like, no, you know what? She's just like me. She just wants to be left alone. And this version, because even DC Universe Catwoman, even though she spends most of her time kind of like solo, she does keep coming back into Bruce's orbit, but also she's always got some kind of companions, some kind of cats to come home to. She's got kids, like orphan children that she's helping out somewhere in her in her current title. But there's always somebody that she's coming home to, even though she may not have a partner all the time. This one, she seems like she's completely cut all ties from everything, including cats. So this is a very interesting version of Catwoman who doesn't have cats.
All right.
So, yeah.
So, yep. Okay. Well, I'm going to talk about a book that's in the DC universe, Bat universe proper. Now, there's a lot of stuff going down in Gotham. Again, I have voiced my disapproval, let's say, of I can't hear.
Well, I put myself on mute.
It's back. Okay. Well,
I'd put myself on mute. Maybe that's what it is. So maybe I can't go on mute.
Oh, it may have been Steve. It's Steve, and then you freeze. Just stay on. Okay.
Oh, I don't want to make a noise.
I know, but I don't want you to. You sit there freezing either. See, now I'm worried. Can you hear me, Caleb?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine.
I can hear you fine.
Yeah, we can hear you fine. There's no issue. Yeah.
Scaring the hell. We've had so many problems. Jesus. Okay, so the book that I'm talking about. So as I said, I'm not very happy with Vandal Savage's career choices, but there are ramifications. There has been a Supermax facility that's been built in Gotham, literally called Supermax, or as it's abbreviated, the Max. Where Vandal Savage is putting his political opponents away. And very recently, an ADA was put up on trumped up bribery charges, and ended up dead in this max. So Barbara Gordon decides, we have to get in there. We have to see what's happening. So she sets herself up to get arrested. The trumped up charge that really isn't trumped up because she actually did this was burning down one of the bat servers, and or the location of one of the main servers so that they couldn't trace it, but it still was considered arson and vandalism. So she's moved into the max. Now this is done with the knowledge that Bruce and Dick and her father, are all in on this. That it's a deliberate attempt for her to go in on the inside. The writer is Mariko Tamaki. The artist is Aman K. Nahupan. I hope I said that right. For me, the breakout creative talent in this is the letterer, Ariana Mayer. Oh my God. I mean, she just has a way of putting a lot of information in, using different font styles that are they're just perfect. It's like a perfectly lettered book. So, Steve, I do have some pictures here. And if you are listening to the audio version, I'll do my best to provide the proper audio illustration, let's say. So she does get into this facility. She notices a lot of weird things. Instantly, there are former cops that are among the inmates, but the inmates don't touch her. They're not messing with her. So they think that, whether this is because they messed with Gordon in the past and these inmates know that, Gordon's demotion to a beat cop is, probably temporary, given how much Gotham fluctuates. But there's a reason behind it, and she needs to know that. She also tangles with Di that she tangled with before, which is somebody who doesn't think she is the daughter of Harvey Dent, but thinks she is the daughter of Two-Face. And this chick is causing all kinds of trouble with her. So that's the main fight that she gets into in the first issue. So she's doing recon, trying to figure out, what precisely is going on. And the story ends where she goes into her cell and she hears a particular cackle that just sends her, like really into a tailspin. We start the next issue, though, that she's in the hospital. Someone beat the shit out of her. And that her thinking that was the Joker was probably due to some kind of psychotronics. Now, and this is amazing because the first 18 pages of the book of issue 2, Barbara's in bed. That there still is a sense of propulsion to the story, which does have, other characters, basically providing that. There is somebody that is helping her out named Sparrow. And, she's giving her, drugs that she's not supposed to be getting so that the pain is managed properly. She knows that there are psychotropic drugs in her system, so she's trying to talk her through that. We also have a flash scene to the outside. We have Gordon as a beat cop, and guy at the, which they make it sound as like the terribly old age of 49, is basically panting, chasing a perp, when all of a sudden a figure appears and helps him out, and that's Nightwing. That's Dick Grayson. The dialogue between Dick Grayson and Commissioner Gordon, chef's kiss. That's the duo book I want now, with Mariko Tamaki writing that, because these are characters, they've never been number one to each other, but they know each other intimately. And Gordon is talking about that he has somebody on the inside looking after her who we think is Sparrow, but we're not sure because the whole prison drama element to this is just wonderful. It's a wonderful prison drama. So there's a lot of question marks hanging over stuff. That the name of the book is Breakout, I think is a not so subtle directional what should I Klieg light of where we are headed, but in terms of an additional color to the Batverse. And Mariko, she's written tons of Bat stuff in the past. She's but she does this with so much economy and concentrating on this story and not getting bogged down in the continuity. There's one page that references the Birds of Prey. We don't go into why she isn't in a wheelchair. We don't go into her romantic history. The only things that really reference specifically to the past were the Killing Joke sort of overtures of what she's dealing with while those particular drugs are in her system. But both as prison drama and as an unraveling mystery, this worked really, really well. And I love having a Bat book that I'm excited about because it's not always my favorite franchise within DC. So this was really good, and it feels like Barbara Gordon. This is a very Barbara Gordon.
Super Babs.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't read a lot of Batgirl, and I haven't read a lot of Oracle, and that's, I think, it's part of my whole sort of like Bat gap.
Yeah.
Because really, I told you guys a million times that this book, The Absolute Batman, is probably the only Batman that I've been regularly reading ever in the past 45 years. Other than Legends of the Dark Knight, when that was out in like the late 80s, early 90s, I read some of that,
which was a good series.
It was just really cool, and it was really it felt like an independent comic version of Batman. But this sounds really great. I mean, that's Mariko Tamaki. She's been writing detective comics. She's been writing a whole bunch of stuff.
Other miniseries,
however many years now.
And when Urban Legends was happening, she had some of the work in there. But I think this is a good book for you, Steve. That isn't bogged down in the continuity. They just tell you what you need to know.
Bill, and it just becomes like a prison drama.
And it's a prison drama. It's really good.
Cool.
Bill, I have a question. You mentioned that one of the people that she was in there, like you mentioned the thing about the think she's not somebody who thinks that they're not Harvey Dent's daughter, but they think they're Two-Face's daughter.
Two-Face's daughter, yeah.
Who is that?
Her name is Di, and I think she first appeared in Batgirls, the series with Cassandra Cain and Stephanie. Well, I think that's where she first appeared, but she's tangled with Barbara before.
So is it Joker's?
It's not Duella. It's not Duella.
I was gonna say, is it Joker's daughter? Like, because that's isn't Joker's daughter Harvey Dent's daughter?
This is another nutcase who thinks she's connected to Two-Face.
Yeah. That's interesting. That's kind of the, I don't know if derivative's the right word I want to use, but that like, because that's the first place I went to. I was like, haven't we seen something like that before? But I haven't read, so I don't want to cast asperities.
These villains just having kids left, right, and center. Kids everywhere.
And it also, the thing is, it's a very Gotham feeling book, even though it's apart from some of the flashbacks and Gordon's bit with Nightwing, we're nowhere. None of this happens outside of the prison. So, Gotham is a vibe. Yeah,
it's just vibes, just Gotham vibes.
Yep. Okay, so that's one side of the bigger side of the comic book publishing, one side of the big two. I'm switching over to the other of the big two. And now, we even said it early in the show, we're not reading much Marvel. But I did give the first issue of Avengers Armageddon a chance, which is the mini series that leads into the new Avengers ongoing series. And it's also very much tied to Chip Zdarsky, who is the writer on this, into his Captain America series, where Captain America is. He got the living crap kicked out of him, barely on life support, for tangling with Thunderbolt Ross as the Red Hulk. Doctor Doom tried to take over the world. An ops team led by Thunderbolt Ross went in there with many Hulk, flavored members of the brigade. And when they do take over Latveria, they decide, well, we're the new America. We're going to bring democracy to everybody through force. I'm not exactly comfortable because the depictions of Thunderbolt Ross that I enjoy the most are when he's on the side of the angels.
Yeah.
So this is like, it felt very Namor, It's like, why is Namor like this? Why is he all mean again? At points. So it did feel like that. I'm not crazy about that development. And where Steve's in hell right now because Doctor Doom, as the Sorcerer Supreme, sent his soul to hell. So that's a whole other story. That's why he's
different
off.
book.
Yeah, so that's why he, apart from his body being like mangled, that's why he's off the grid in terms of the Avengers makeup. And so this new America team is, they're coming into other countries, and the U.S. is a little bit hesitant to send in the superheroes. They're about to send in squads that are non-superheroed, especially because of the various Hulks that are in there. We get thrown into the UN Security Council that agrees with this, because again, the first person that wanted to see what they could do something with. Then this is also Steve just flashed a Magic the Gathering card, the Warstorm Surge, which is a bonus that comes with the first issue, and this is the first ever Marvel Universe Magic the Gathering card. So, yeah. That matters to some people, not me.
Hey, he has a name. It's Arnie.
Yeah. Oh no, I was also thinking of Westhoff and a bunch.
Oh,
of
yeah.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of them, and God bless them. They got something cool. So the U.S. is not really up on this, as I said, which leaves the Avengers kind of on the sideline, and there is a situation with the Avengers that they're kind of in limbo right now because they just finished the last and they don't have a leader as of yet. But they are gathering over at Avengers Tower at the Stark building. So this ad hoc team of Sam and Carol, and seeing like the first names, Namor is there, Iron Man, Vision, the Sue Storm is there, and Ben Grimm, members of the Fantastic Four. So they're trying to figure out what to do, and this really is, very much a gathering of the tribes, getting the band together. They decide that there is going to be a strike force that goes in, led by Tony. Spider-Man is going to stay behind because they worry that if New York is not guarded, that that always seems to be the nexus of stuff happening. So Peter is going to be overseeing stuff there. Now they also bring over I can't believe there it is, David Colton, who was a very early a Desert Storm super soldier, that, and that's tied into the story in Captain America that there were super soldier programs post 9/11, and he was somebody that went to that, and he offers his services. We're not exactly sure where his head is at because there's been a lot of suspect behavior with him, but he's very much a powerful force. So they do welcome him onto the team. And Steve, if you can just keep going with some of these, and Colton, immediately wins Spider-Man over, saying, we need you on the line too. So thank you for staying behind, and and he is there on kind of a good note. But they know they have to do something with this. Steve, if you can go to a next image, this is the area of Symkaria, where the Hulks are, bringing their brand of democracy in. And with the X-Men, where they are right now, they're, after everything that's happened with, everything that's been happening with them, they're sitting this one out because they think no matter what happens, mutant kind will be blamed. But there's one of them that says, nah, we got to fight. And guess who that is? It's Wolverine.
Yeah.
So we end there with this ad hoc team of Avengers, with the two most important words in their lore: Avengers Assemble. So that was issue 1. I did get the variant cover by Alex Ross. There, just like every other Marvel #1, there's just tons of them. There's tons of different covers. So this whole this whole dynamic of having to stop a foe that was, formerly on their side, I think adds a nice little flavor to that. It's a little concerning with what we've seen with, instead of Earth's Mightiest Heroes, it's being billed, the new series, as Earth's Mightiest Survivors. And I think we're going to see a couple of comic book deaths. I hope there are comic book deaths because some of these are big characters. But I do think with re-engineering the Avengers, I do think a miniseries is probably a good way to go, until the new status quo is set. Instead of this actually being an Avengers #1, of having that kind of bridge. I think of way back, if you remember, Justice League Midsummer Nightmare was the bridge between the end of Justice League of America and the Grant Morrison JLA, and gave people a breather, and why is this Team 7 back together? Here's a different story. So it felt a lot like that. The worry that I have is with Marvel's events, they very often, the first issue is always very strong, and then it kind of dissipates. That quality kind of dissipates, particularly in the writing. So I hope that doesn't happen here. But that was one of the few Marvels I bought, Avengers Armageddon #1. I'm almost sure I'm going to be getting the additional issues, but we'll see. We'll see how the budget goes. Because it didn't lock me in, but I did think it's a promising start.
Probably trade waiting on this one.
Yeah,
read all at once.
Yeah,
I want to be excited.
Yeah. It did feel. I can say this, Caleb. It felt Avengery. If that's a help. Yeah. If that's a help, it did feel
Avengery instead of Avengery, or.
I just
what was the other one?
You made a point about the Red Hulk earlier, which I think is really good. Like, I do like it when Red Hulk is on, is on the side of the Angels, or at least is playing that role where the Red Hulk is somewhat, at least always working alone, but working in the right direction, or so to speak. But
even when he's straddling a line, like in Thunderbolts, even when he's on the cusp of shady shit happening, that the main mission is, beneficial to mankind.
Right.
I just, with the Hulks in general, and the Hulk is my guy, right? Like that, the Hulk that's my favorite part of the Marvel universe. I still wish that they would get some type of bearing on, being able to convey, what the power level is and when and why. Like, I'm okay with the fluctuating power levels. The Hulk can go from one minute where he's having trouble dealing with, Ben Grimm, and the next minute he's able to break and shatter worlds. I'm okay with that, but there's always some type of explanation of where he's at and why. And that's just something that through the Hulk's, through the Gamma the gamma pantheon of characters, which, no pun intended with saying pantheon, but with those characters, it seems like they just use a lot of plot contrivance. Like, all of a sudden Scar is just, the same thing. He's like an ultimate, almost a god tier level. And the next minute he's like, just a street level person or like, and then they do the same thing with Red Hulk. And I just never know, like, when is Red Hulk going to have trouble dealing with Hercules, and when is Red Hulk going to go toe to toe with Thor?
They've done that with Jennifer, with She-Hulk.
Yeah, same. Yeah, like that's just something that they've always. I'm kind of used
times
to
that
it,
she can murder half of mankind just by going on a 3-minute rampage, and then other times she's having difficulty lifting a car.
I would like if you're going to write the book, do a little bit of effort into telling me where the power level is at and why at this particular time, other than it just fits right with the plot.
Right. Yeah. But I think you would like this because it doesn't go into that. We just know that there's Hulks and they're powerful.
Yeah.
And they're not, it's not good to have Hulks in in what it was almost immediately declared a terrorist organization. It's not good.
Yeah.
Just Hulks everywhere. They're just moving all over the place.
No.
Smash things.
I would also have to say with both books that I had, it was interesting with Ice being almost like a presence in Barbara Gordon Breakout without ever being explicit about it. Because just that nature of people getting thrown into jail and we don't know exactly what's happening to them. And here with, New America sounds as jingoistic as anything could be. These writers have their pulse on the times, and we need that.
It's hard when, the fictional versions of evil government organizations are kind of competing with the real versions of evil government organizations, where you're just sort of like, the metaphor here is actually not as bad as the reality in some cases, which, it's kind of tough there. Like
wait till you get off the podcast and see what our illustrious leader had to say about election integrity tonight.
I don't want to. I know what he said,
but it also seems like no one's paying attention.
Because everybody's lying out of his ass.
Yeah, but it's also like, NBC and ABC didn't cover it live, break into it, and it just seems that, I don't know, just the immediate response, even though, like, most of my news comes from leftist sources, let's face it. It just, I don't think it's scary. It's absolutely scary that this is a sitting president saying this shit, but it's this dumbass sitting president saying,
and it's the same playbook as always. Anyway, I didn't mean to get us on a tangent. Whatever.
We're better entertainment tonight.
Yeah.
Watch us.
Right. And, so Steve and I have bogarted the first 3 picks, so we're going to throw it over to Caleb, who has 2 picks that he wants to talk about. So Caleb, take it away.
Yeah, so both of my picks are actually going to come from Image Comics tonight, right? So I'm living in that world for a little bit. The first book I'm going to talk about is a book that we've touched on before. It's another chapter of the book, so to speak, but it's a book I'm really enjoying, and that is the comic Feral, and it's by Tony Fleecs, who I think is a really good writer. Does a lot of anything with animals. Tony does a great job with. Drawn by his artistic partner, Trish Forster. She was also the artist on the other book that he did was Stray Dogs. And then got a little help from Tone Rodriguez. Brad Simpson does the colors. And just, it's a really good book all around. So what the long story short, what Tony and team is doing in this book, they've taken a genre and then they've applied talking animals to it, right? So this is effectively a zombie book. It's a zombie apocalypse. It's kind of like Walking Dead with cats, right? Except instead of zombies, in this case, there is a plague of rabies that has infected basically anything with, any mammalian animal throughout the world, including humans, are susceptible to this. And so the world is, called a moratorium on everything and, locked down a portion of the planet and a portion of America to help eradicate anything in this that has this rabies, because it's, terrible. The book largely follows a couple of cats that were house cats, Elsie being the kind of the central house cat. But Elsie has a longtime sidekick named Lord. His full name is like Lord Fluffy McPants or something like that, or it's just some ridiculous cute cat on her name. Would never, because I'm a respectable dog owner with dogs with names like Chester and Annie. But it's a fun book. So the part I want to talk about tonight, though, is it's the fourth volume of this. The fourth trade, so to speak. These cats have been through the ringer, and they have found themselves in a brand new environment. They stumbled upon Pet City, right? And what Pet City is, it's kind of like a PetSmart or a Petco, a place where pets were, that when the things broke out and basically the whole world shut down and everything got locked up, the owners and proprietors and people who worked at Pet City locked all the doors, shut the lights off, and, they put out a bunch of food for all the pets that were inside. And they were basically just like, hey, survive as long as you can. We're going to inoculate you. We don't know how long we're going to be gone, so we're going to help you survive. I'm assuming they thought they'd be gone for maybe, a week, 2 weeks, couple days. They'd come back in and all things would be hunky-dory. It's not the case, right? This thing ruined the world and everything is shut down. And it's been, months, if not close to a year since the disease took over. And of course, what happens? Well, all of the cute little kitty cats who were inside, who were up for adoption, took over Pet City. And they were surviving at first, and the food that was left out started to dwindle. And so they turned to the fish, that were in the aquariums, and they ate those. And then, of course, there's the gerbils and stuff like that. And then, of course, there's a really cool illustration that kind of shows you walking around. But the problem is that they were there for so long that all of the prey animals disappeared and all of their kibble disappeared, and they needed, wet food and stuff to survive. And of course, they can eat dog food, but it's bad for them. Well, as things tend to do in a closed environment, with no leadership or no governance to take over, a governance created itself. And what they realized, and cats doing what cats do, started having babies. Well, cannibalism became the menu of the day, right? And so, obviously their, mama cats and stuff were not happy about this. They all wanted to protect their own babies, but they had one step forward, and they call her Mother. And she was just like, you know what? I'm going to be the baby factory for the team, because I can pump out these babies, but I will be the essentially, judge, jury, and executioner for everything here. And she becomes the matriarch, the queen, and everything. She's the leader. And of course, she's got a little henchman cat who does her bidding, in here and sets everything up. And they worship her like a goddess, because she is both the life and the gatekeeper of death away from them. So that's the environment to which our cats find themselves. Elsie and Lord, stumble upon a tomcat named Lucky out in the wilderness, and Lucky's got a sidekick. It's a Rottweiler named Moosh. And Moosh does whatever, Lucky the tomcat tells him to. So they're kind of a dynamic duo, and they've managed to survive because, if any of the infected, the rabid animals come close, Moosh takes him out. He's a killing machine, and stuff. And he's kind of a badass, but he's a brainless badass. He's a weapon. You point him in a direction and you let him loose and he goes. And so they've stumbled upon and found a way to sneak in. And the whole idea when they found Pet City was sneak in, see what's there. Let's get some food. They didn't know what was happening inside, but now they're inside and they can't get out. Right. And now they're subject to the whims of this hierarchy and this environment that's been set up. Except, our boy, McFluffy Pants, Lord he's a curious little kitty, and he's also, damaged goods, so to speak. There's some history there, right? So when they were house cats and all fine and dandy, Elsie didn't like him, and she let him loose outside, and he was in the wilderness for a few days, and it broke him mentally, like he's got some things going on. So he doesn't act right, so to speak. Well, so he starts noticing some things that are going around. He starts questioning the hierarchy, and he goes into the back room. He realizes the cannibalism's happening. He blows the whistle on this shit. Well, of course, he gets sentenced to death, because that's not his purpose. He didn't follow his purpose. Everybody's got a purpose in this. And so they, sentence this poor cat. They're going to kill him. But the rest of the team's not having this, but they have to be subversive about the way that they do this because they're clearly outnumbered. So them being creatures of, they know what the outside world is like. The creatures inside don't know what the outside world's like. They've never done this. They've never been exposed. they kind of come to the plan that the only way to get Lord free and to do anything about this is to open the fucking doors and let just carnage ensue. Where these rabid animals who are lurking outside are going to come in and just wreak havoc, and maybe they can escape and they'll get Lord out. So they hatch this plan, and that's exactly what happens. And then Moosh comes in and just, wrecks shop. Except what we find out is our cat Lucky is not so benevolent. He never intended on getting out. He planned on taking over. It's a treasure trove, right? It's everything he needs and wants. The only problem is crazy cannibal cats who can't survive in the real world. He needs to get them out of the way. And so that's the plan that they hatch, right? And so they're working on that. And so things happen. Carnage happens. It's a very brutal story about animals, right? Like, they're not pulling punches. This has all the violence and chaos of The Walking Dead with just kitty cats, right? Like, so they're not suffering fools. All the issues I had with stray dogs, with violence against dogs and stuff, I don't have about this book because I don't fucking like cats. So, that's just its own thing. But I'm able to separate it. So, but it's an interesting story. The dynamics are they're giving human dynamics to cats. And, so again, separating the things in my brain is fairly easy for this. It's interesting. This book has gone through some weird places, and they're saying a lot about the world that we live in society through this book. And if you're into some carnage, check this out.
I picked up the first issue. I dropped it. I'm glad I did. Yeah.
Yeah. It's probably not for you. Like,
yeah, it wouldn't have been for me. And, some of that was also stray dogs, in that, it was very well done, but it's an emotional killer on you.
Yeah.
It's
if you're a
read.
person, you're the kind of person, and to some degree I am, I think animals are better than people. I don't mind seeing movies where hundreds of people just get wiped out. It bothers me to see a movie
one
with
kitty cat or one puppy, and I'm like, why did you take
I will
me
say,
to this? Yeah. So.
I will say, at least in this, it's not humans perpetrating violence against animals. That is absolutely something I'm not going to read. Right? I'm just not. To some degree, there are, because these people are trying to kill the virus. And so you've got the CDC with guns walking around trying to, eradicate animals who have rabies. That happens in the real world, right? So, but for the most part, the violence, as far as anything like anybody with ill will, anybody doing things just out of malice, that's the animals doing it to the animals, right? And so that's I can play ball with that, because it's not the same thing as a person abusing an animal, and I can't deal with that. So, I grew up hunting, so that's also part of that plays into this too. So it's a good horror story. I'm down with it. Tony and co are doing a great job, and they do it in the very it's also weird seeing a book like this. It's drawn in the very Don Bluth style, just murdering things. I love it. That probably says something about me as a person. So,
well, one thing I want to say real quick, we have had people who have joined us tonight, and unfortunately the chat was not updating very timely. So some of them may have dropped off, but we had James Figueredo saying hello. We had Lajuan, a friend of mine, also saying hello, speaking truths on this live podcast, and also talking about Disney Adventures you mentioned. And then, of course, a good friend, John, did show up and call us all bear royalty, which was really great. But unfortunately, that was like an hour ago, a half hour ago. Like, we're, for some reason wasn't updating. So good old Riverside, issues. But I appreciate it. Thank you, everybody, for joining in and commenting. So
yeah, given that John went ape crazy on the variants for stray dogs.
Stray dogs, yeah.
Has he been reading?
I don't know.
That's a good question. I should ask him about that. And if he's still following,
John, if you're still following, please let us know if you're reading Feral.
Let us know for sure.
Yeah, I couldn't do it. After that first issue, I was like, nope. I was like the buzzard on Looney Tunes. I was like, nope.
John slid to my DMs. Apparently, he said he thought about me earlier this week. A Nipsey Hussle song came on. It's R.I.P. Nip. So I'm a big Nipsey Hussle fan. But John's good people, man. So I know he was reading this at one point. And there again, lots of variants to this. So I'm sure he's snatched up a few of them. So it's good stuff.
All right.
Yeah.
And what's the other image book you have?
So the other image book I read and I had a great time with, I have actually, this is an older series. I let it stack up. I say older, it's from earlier in the year. I let it stack up. I've got all 5 issues. Read the first one earlier today and changed my plan and said I need to talk about this on the show. And that is Death Fight Forever. This is also an image series. And the reason I picked this up was basically, I mean, number one, cool cover, right? But number two, it's Andrew McLean. I love Andrew McLean. And I wish I had have read this when I was in Heroes, because I talked to Andrew and I told him I had all the issues. I hadn't read it yet, but I can't wait. And he's like, I think you're going to dig it. And he was not wrong. The other cool thing that he does throughout the series is he's got different artists who do different books. And it's not like, he had an artist plan and then they dropped off. Books 1 and 2, he's got Alexis Zirret doing the art. Al Goffa does the art for chapter 3. Chapter 4 is Sam McKenzie. And chapter 5 is Erwin Papa. So this book is very 1980s, love of video games, love of action heroes, love of maybe some G.I. Joe thing. It is fantastic. So chapter 1 is about Bash Biggle, and Bash Biggle is this, anthropomorphic action hero kind of situation. So what the book opens up on, the team of good is being led by this cat Joe guy, literally as a cat. He's a very feline anthropomorphic face, and they're battling, there's a Zuggurat temple that's been taken over by, basically Cobra Commander, that it's just a terrible person. But it's very snaky, and it's like Serpentor or some shit like that. And they're battling it off. And the evil bad guy has got his team of, cops with a Z, who are evil cops, again, who are, just wreaking havoc and doing all kinds of, mustache twirling villainy things. And they're going to take it over, and they're going to run them out of the Zuggurat and get them out of the temple and save the world. And so to do this, the head feline, action do-gooder guy calls upon basically the fighting dragon twins, Bash and Crash, who are going to knock the door down so they can storm it. And then, they're getting ready to, of course, they're being watched, and Lord Slither, who is your main bad guy, his number one, Sergeant Mendoza team goes up and tells him, he's like, hey, this is happening. He's like, they're going to get the door down, but you're going to be there waiting, and you're going to wreak havoc and cause all kinds of chaos and stuff like that. And so she does, and she's there with a Gatling gun just ready to spray and kill. But what he doesn't tell her is he's also calling in his crew of helicopters to come airlift the Zuggurat out to safety. This is just pure dumb fun comics, man. It reminded me a lot of actually, like, not the art, but just the story and just the ridiculousness of it, the overtopness of it all reminded me a lot of like American Barbarian. I don't know if you're familiar with that. Scioli's book. But that's basically just what this is, man. This is just pure, I don't know, like Saturday morning cartoon. You're a kid in the floor, you're playing with your action heroes, and you're making this story up in your head. And I ate this up. The art is phenomenal. It's gorgeous. The story is just absurd and wonderful and over the top. And it's everything that I want in a big, dumb, fun action comic that you don't have to think too much about. And you can just sit in a moment like it's a Saturday morning cartoon or it's a video game and just live in it for a little bit. So if you have not gotten this, do it. It is kinetic. It is fun. It is just wild, and I love it, man. So I can't wait to read through the rest of this.
It sounds, Andrew McLean, I love Headlopper.
Yep.
And that whole series has just been fantastic. This sounds like Kyle Starks,
a little bit,
decided to give Andrew McLean a challenge and was like, out 80s action hero, my sex castle.
Yep.
And do that. I mean, like Ziggurat in the jungle, a Cobra, elite fighting squad / criminal organization, a Catman, like, just this is just that sounds like a lot of wonderful crazy that you might read in a Kyle Starks book. But with Andrew McLean, that sounds like a lot of fun. And I like the fact that he uses different artists for different chapters, because then it just kind of gives a really, I kind of like when they do that purposefully. Not like in, what happens when Marvel and DC tends to have that, usually because, one artist isn't keeping up, so they throw somebody else on it. But, when they're planning this out and having that, it can really create some really interesting imagery and changes to the different characters when you have different artists interpreting the same book, same story.
Well, and the thing is they're interpreting different parts of the story. So it doesn't explain it, but there's only one page. It's kind of it's right after the chapter page or the title page. And what you see, I don't know, I don't know if you guys can see this or not, but you see this otherworldly, all these kind of bright colors, and it's these characters, so cool. One of them sitting on a throne, and they just mentioned, Bash Biggle, Marlon Mendoza, how is it always humans, the merest of mortals, have become the masters of the Phantom Realm. And it says it happened in a place known as Earth in a time called 1992. So you've got these two figures who are watching over the Phantom Realm, which apparently Earth exists in. And so what I think that they are doing is they are giving you, the reason we have different artists, because these are different aspects of the Phantom Realm, and basically they're tapping into video game lore. So I'm curious to see where this part of it goes. And I have not read the back matter yet, but it may get in and describe it. But it is... I want to see what this overarching, like who the Watchers are. Like that's cool. Like how are they using the different artistic styles to break up whatever the Phantom Realm is that are being watched over by these folks. So, and what the lore is to that. It's gonna be fun stuff. Andrew McCain's a fucking genius, man. I love that dude.
He's going to go through all of the Canon Films library, but like reinterpreted in this comic.
He's a dude I want to watch movies with. He really, he's a dude I want to watch 80s action movies with. Him and Zach Crucy.
Oh, yeah.
This is a fun day. Fun. Also, we can't have that conversation.
No. But, yeah. Oh, that's, yeah. I do like these sort of like 80s action pastiche kind of. They're kind of parody comics, but they're also homages. Like this is a lot of what writers and artists kind of grew up on. If you're a kid from the 80s, a kid from the 90s, this is the kind of media that you were consuming.
It's early 90s image redonkulous too. I mean, it's just Bill, you were saying something. I think you were muted just a second ago though.
Yeah, I was just thinking of comic creators I'd want to see films with. That's an interesting conversation. But I would want to have like something twisted. Like I'd love to watch a movie with Chaykin, but I don't want to watch noir. I want to see like a really shitty like musical, like Flower Drum Song. Because I think the insights would be valuable.
Well, it'd also be really funny if he's singing along to some of them, because then you're like, you have watched this movie before, you like it.
Yeah, I want to watch Victor Victoria with Chaykin. That's flat. Like that's my answer. I have that answer.
I'm trying to think, who would I watch? I definitely. I mean, I already mentioned Kyle Starks. I would love to watch, Barbarians with Kyle Starks, or possibly, what was it? Gosh, what was that? It's a famous Golden Globus flop, where they have like a terrorist takeover at a mall. What was the name of it?
Was it like a Delta Force or?
No, but it's around that. It's like something USA. It's like
Invasion USA.
Or Invasion USA. I think watching Invasion USA with Kyle Starks would be an absolute hoot.
I would also like to watch Babe Pig in the City with Ryan Brown.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Oh my God.
That'd be real fun.
That would be fun.
That would be a good one too. Yeah. Okay.
I'd like to take acid and watch Fantasia with Al Ewing.
But would Al Ewing be on acid?
Or Ram V.
Or Ram V. Yeah.
Ram V. But Ram V sober, because probably, I mean, he probably doesn't even need.
We're high. He can still comment on it. We don't have to get him high.
That's fun.
Or Trad Moore. Trad Moore. I don't know. Like Trad Moore looks like an acid trip. I don't know if Trad Moore is actually like acid trippy kind of dude. I don't know what he's like in real life. So anyway, tangents.
And
that's a whole.
I also wouldn't mind watching like a cliffhanger serial with Matt Wagner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So General Hospital with Matt Wagner, basically.
No, like not that stupid. Talking like Zorro's Fighting Legion or something. You silly goose.
Or Rocket Man and what was it? The Moon.
Oh, well, there's Commando Cody and
Commander Cody. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a bunch of
Fun.
King of the Rocket Men. There's the
Yeah.
Rocket Men where it's like kind of the same character, but they're never named the same person in the movies.
Right.
Yeah.
It's is that Rocketeer? No, it's not.
It's Commando
It's
Cody.
1942.
It's something else in King of the Rocket Men, and it's something else in the other one. Yeah.
I'd like to watch Repo, the Genetic Opera with James IV. He seems like a cool dude to watch a gothy movie, a gothy opera with.
Well, he would definitely know the songs.
Yeah.
From that one.
We would sing it together.
Or like a teen comedy with him, like, 16 Candles. All right, this is the weirdest tangent. Steve, save us with your last book, please.
All right. Well, hey, speaking about movies, watching movies, everybody knows that I do love me some horror movies. And of course, when I was a kid, I cut my teeth on the Universal monsters. And Image has been putting out some amazing reinterpretations. Some really great reinterpretations of those old Universal monsters, sort of on a sub imprint, and getting to show them either, going off of the original story or, from the original films, or sort of taking those original films as inspiration and going in a new direction. And that's kind of what this one is, not kind of, actually is. And that is Blood of the Wolfman. And this is written by Joshua Williamson with beautiful, really kind of twisty art by Leo Max, colors by Pip Martin, and letters by, because I did write it down, DC Hopkins. So they've been doing a really good job here. This is one of the many variants that they have for this. And this one I just had to throw in there because, it's a throwback to the original 1940, I believe it was 1942 film. But I absolutely love the Wolfman. When I was a kid, like the Wolfman was kind of like a big thing. Of course, I also kind of had a crush, just a little bit of a crush on Larry Talbot, who was the main character there as the Wolfman. But this book takes place late 60s, early 70s, and introduces us to Adam Yeager, who is at his first college party. He's an art major. He's majoring in painting. He's kind of shy, doesn't have a lot of friends. But he does go to this big house party. It's just filled. It's kind of like, it's implied that it might be a frat party of some sort, but it's not like super Greek themed. It's basically just all college kids coming together at this art school and just having a good time. And he starts kicking up conversations with some of the other kids and seems to be kind of warming up, kind of opening up to things. And then tragedy strikes off camera, if you will. And the next we see of poor Adam is covered in blood in a hospital room. And his father, Mr. Yeager, comes in to see what happened, make sure that he's okay. And when he gets there, unfortunately, Adams tells him a very tragic, very horrifying story where Adam has transformed into a werewolf and slaughtered the entire party of college kids. All dead, mangled, torn apart. And he knows that he did it because at one point he caught his image in the mirror and saw that it was him, saw that he was this horrible creature that was doing this. Mr. Yeager, of course, does not seem surprised. So this is not something that, this isn't something new. This has happened before. And, we're introduced to a couple of detectives that are trying to figure out what happened. They think sort of that this must be an animal attack of some sort, but they're really curious how this one kid got out unscathed. Mr. Yeager is kind of not having it, so he tries to steer the detectives away and take his kid home. unfortunately, home life is not all that great. Basically, the father's had to sell everything. His business is going under. The house is practically vacant, but he refuses to sell because it was his wife's home and everything was here. But his wife is dead, and Adam's brother is also dead, and so we're not really sure what happened, but possibly is related to Adam's previous transformations. So this family's seen a lot of tragedy. These two men basically are the last members of their family, and unfortunately, they're dealing with Adam's curse. So this is where we started. This is where things kick off. But knowing how these Universal Monsters books sort of flow, it's taking full inspiration from the original stories, and just modernizing it in the 70s, early 70s, but also taking it in a direction that Joshua Williamson is really, really curious to see where it can go. And I'm curious as well. I always love a werewolf movie. I like a werewolf theme, and I think this is going to be a pretty rocking story. The last Universal Monsters book that I read and absolutely loved was the version of The Mummy. I thought that was fantastic. This one, I can't wait to get, further down into the rabbit hole with this one. And I'm excited to continue. So yeah, check them out.
That was my father's favorite type of movie, was Wolfman werewolf movie. Yeah. The only time growing up he wanted to see a movie a second time was An American Werewolf in London.
Oh yeah.
That was the only
That's a great
time.
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was so happy watching that movie. Oh my God.
Hey, look, it actually came up and it's recent. So thank you, James. This series had a mummy book illustrated by Faith Erin Hicks. Yeah, absolutely. That's the one that I mentioned. That mummy was excellent. That mummy book was great. It followed the story of the Universal film pretty closely, but from the perspective of the woman who was more or less possessed by an Oxenomoon. So very, very cool. We also have a comment here from Air Ricks Reloaded. Great show, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. So yeah, definitely. These are always just so much fun to see when Tony puts them in my pull box. I'm like, yes, please. Thank you. Throw them all in there.
It was funny. We were talking about Blobfest with Jay Gaspa, and I've been disappointed the last 2 years with the roster, because like this year was like circus themed movies, and the last year was the camp, which is great in and of itself, like the Apple and Flash Gordon, the 1980 Flash Gordon, but I would love a Blobfest that was all Universal Monsters. I would love that.
Oh yeah.
That would be
cool.
A great excuse
Be very cool
to go there. Yeah.
The Mummy, Bride of Frankenstein, Creature from Black Lagoon.
I'm really excited about the new Wolfman movie. The trailer looks really good.
Werewolf.
I want to, or not the Wolfman. Yeah, werewolf.
Werewolf.
Werewolf. Well, it's.
Werewolf.
I mean, it is this year's Christmas film. So previous year it was Nosferatu, and this year it's going to be Werewolf for me and my husband. So, and our friend Susan, we go every year for a Christmas movie, and past couple of years it's been a horror film.
Our routine, we go see a movie and we eat Chinese buffet.
Awesome.
We thought we were starting a Christmas Eve tradition when we saw Cats, and then the pandemic hit. But we thought that was going to be a tradition, and
the universe was like, no,
sorry.
But also, as Rob put it, night of the Blessed Virginal Birth, and we're seeing Cats.
And that was the Taylor Swift film version, right?
And it was also like I want to say like the second day of release, so that was before they did some of those digital fixes.
Oh yeah, that's right. That was one they actually had to fix during release.
Yeah.
People were very concerned about what they had been seeing on screen.
Yeah.
Wonders of modern filmmaking.
We don't have to talk about Cats. We can talk about other stuff, like the last segments in our show. and that's where we're headed towards. And the first of the last two segments of a Comic Book Bears podcast episode is where we show off our geek gets. So I will start with Steve. And is there anything you got in the last fortnight that qualifies as a geek get?
Actually, I did. These are mostly because I am a fan of board games and card games, but I picked up a newer one. This isn't the newest one from the cartoonist, the Oatmeal. This one's called Horrible Therapists, and it's a constructive card game, party card game where you put together basically horrible therapist conversations into a fun comic strip. So very nice. Good way to mix and match, insulting, horrible, and offensive things with your friends, which is always good. And then it's an Uno flip that is a Transformers-themed Uno flip deck. So you get Decepticons, you get Autobots, and you get to frustrate the hell out of your friends and family while playing Uno. So, and an Uno flip is a good version of it if you haven't played it. It has front and back numbers, so you're constantly, flipping the cards to frustrate people who are close to winning. So I'm excited to play both of those.
Nice.
Because, nerdy board games and card games are fun.
Nice. Over to Caleb. Caleb, do you have anything that qualifies as a geek get?
I do. So I've got a few things. So, and they all kind of tie together. I was very fortunate enough to get invited to go to a concert. I enjoy the live musics. And this concert was going to Little Rock, and I happened to be talking to, basically my sister. She's not genetically my sister, but she's like my sister. And I was saying, I'm, saw that this was happening. And she was like, well, we're going and you should come with us. The concert was Evanescence. Evanescence is a Little Rock based band. So it was kind of a homecoming. I happen to know some people who are, our family, of the band and very close with the band. So I got to go to the concert. And so a few things. Number one, the opener for the band, was a band that I love called the Nova Twins. They're a rock duo. So I picked up a vinyl there. The bassist does some like Tom Morello stuff with a bass, and it's amazing. But the other thing is because I know people who are close, I got to go backstage and hang out with the bands, and do some cool stuff. Met Amy Lee, my husband and I did. They sent me away with some parting gifts. Nice little pictures signed by the band and all that stuff.
So cool.
But it was absolutely fascinating. Like, that was a very cool experience, just hanging out and talking with a real person. And if you're looking at the screen right now, these are the Nova Twins. I mean, we were pretty close to the stage in the family, area, sitting down with them. Also got to see, Miss LaPlante herself. Spirit Box was the middle band. And so just a good night of female fronted hard rock, metal, whatever you want to call it. But got to go hang out backstage, hang out with legitimate rock stars, meet some really cool people, and have some really good conversations. And it was a really cool moment because it was sort of a homecoming. So those are my geek gets, other than, of course, the Cubus Flamingo is here to tell you that he believes in you, and he brought his friend Crypto with him. So never doubt the power of the Cubus Flamingo. This is just going to grow ever bigger as this goes on. Also, if you get a chance, go listen to Evanescence's new album. It's really good. I very much enjoy it. So it's a fun, and I love this resurgence in like 2000s. Call it new metal, call it whatever you want to. It's groove metal, just groove rock. But I love that that's getting the resurgence right now. It's fun stuff.
All right, cool. Well, I also went to a concert that's tied into one of my geek gets, but I didn't have backstage passes. I didn't have none of that. But we were fairly close. We were like seventh row. And it was the first time in years that I've seen Joe Jackson live. I've seen him many times, but I just got bored of the piano, bass, drum lineup that he instituted for tour after tour after tour. So when I saw that there was a guitarist in this lineup, I was like, "There, oh, good. It's time." He also had a very cute, like, pocket cub on percussion. And this guy wrote a comic book, but they didn't have it there. Something called Super Mambo that I have to do some investigating. But I did get the vinyl for his latest album, Hope and Fury. This is actually, if you've ever seen the movie of Tommy, this is Portsmouth, where he grew up. And when they were filming Tommy, the Empire Ballroom caught fire. So this is kind of like a a nod to that. So some good tracks on here. Some really good tracks. Fabulous People, End of the Pier, some good stuff. First vinyl of Joe Jackson I've gotten in 1,000 years. But some of the again, it was my birthday. It was my it was birthday, and I did get some cool books, and there is a motif to this, so I just wanted to throw these out, and keeping with the music. These are two books. I haven't started reading them, but I'm going to. One is Mighty Real, A History of LGBT Music from 1969 to 2000. It's written by Barry Walters, who is a new Facebook friend, and it starts with the premise of 1969 being the year zero because of Stonewall, and then going into 2000, and looks like a really good book. I heard him interviewed on not NPR, WFUV over here in the New York area, and that was a great show. If you want to see that archive, if you want to hear that archive, it's available. And in keeping with that, another book I got is The Velvet Mafia, the gay men who ran the swinging 60s. So this covers mostly managers, but also Joe Meek, who was a producer, but Larry Parnes, Brian Epstein, Robert Stigwood, Simon Napier Bell, a bunch of people that worked behind the scenes of some of the bigger acts in the UK in the late 50s and through the 60s. Again, operating at a time where it was legal to be homosexual. So this is another read I'm very much looking forward to. Them's my gay music geekettes. So
Well,
I got
cool.
those. All right. Well, we're going to head into the last segment of this episode of the Comic Book Bears. And when we hit the last segment, it's something we call the Woofs of the Week. In the bear community, if you find a fella attractive, you woof at him. And we do something very similar where we woof at something, which may be comic book or comic book related, but it also may be a film or a TV program, charitable initiative, anything under the sun that we think you, fair listener or viewer, may be interested in sampling. I'll start as I always do with Steve. Steve, what is your Woof of the Week?
My Woof of the Week is actually a TV show, of course, that just came out as of July 15th, and I am just super excited for it. And if it will let me share the screen, then we can all be excited for it. And that is Amazon Prime's new series, Ride or Die. They dropped all 8 episodes on Wednesday the 15th. It stars Octavia Spencer and Hannah Waddingham as a very, very odd couple in this. Hannah Waddingham plays an assassin who's kind of having a little bit of chaotic stuff happening in her life. And Octavia Spencer is her best friend, who is the wife of a British politician, and things go off the rails in her life as well. And the two of them basically team up to, well, just ride the chaos. And this show is delightful. The dynamic between the two of them is wonderful. As an on-screen pair, they really feel real as a pair of friends who are very, very different but have a lot in common sort of emotionally. But also it's got a lot of fun sort of espionage stuff, a lot of fun assassin kind of stuff. There's a mystery. There's, a lot of, mafia type violence. All sorts of things are happening in there. But at its heart, these two are just so much fun to watch. And apparently it's already pretty popular. I'm not a big fan of having them drop all the episodes all at once. But hey, if you're into binge watching, there you go. You can get 8 episodes all at once.
Okay. I'm kind of ambivalent whether everything drops at once or it's staggered. Because even if it drops at once, you can stagger it. There's nothing
of course
stopping you from doing that. But there's also times like I think of shows like The Madison where like let me just get this out. Let me just binge this in. Let me just mainline this. So, so sometimes I think there's pros and cons to both of them. Yeah, and there are also some shows like the one exception I will say was Andor, because I think you needed a break. You needed those breaks.
I think
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
episodic shows do better when they're titrated out because they encourage the water cooler conversations, and I do
Right.
think that's I like that we're now getting back to a time where even streaming services are like, nope, one episode a week. We're going back to that model because it's going to keep you interested. It's going to keep you talking about it. Some are okay to do like that, but I do think
Yeah.
a certain format, the Game of Thrones, for example, or whatever that spinoff is now,
House of the Dragon. Yeah.
one
House of
episode
the
a week,
Dragon.
perfect for that.
Yeah, HBO Max is still sticking to that. MGM Plus is still sticking to that. Apple TV Plus is good with those sort of like they give you the taste.
Most
They give you the 2 episodes up front.
Apart from the damn Snoopy stuff, I think Apple TV has all been once a week. Yeah.
Yeah, which is great, and I think that it encourages everybody to be kind of gives people the chance to be on the same page and on the same episode, as opposed to like, half of the people binging the entire thing and knowing the whole shebang, and then everybody else is kind of like trying to keep up with it.
My personal just take on this is like instant gratification has become the norm, and it's been terrible for our society. So,
and it's all because you can binge watch fucking
it's
TV.
the fucking internet.
Yeah. No.
No. All right, over to Caleb. Caleb, what is your wolf of the week?
My wolf of the week goes out to a made-for-TV movie, or just a film that is based off of a TV show that is based off of a comic, and that is Heartstoppers Forever, which debuts tomorrow on Netflix here in the States. It's already, I think, debuted over across the pond. This, of course, is based off of the graphic novel series Heartstopper by Alice Oseman. It is a story of two, teens who meet and fall in love, and they're gay, and they're trying to figure this out in a world that is not brutal to them. It actually allows them to learn to date and to have that like very young dating experience with each other without it just being, soul crushing in the way that it was for a lot, not all of us, but for a lot of us. They were able to come out of the closet at a young age, find somebody that deeply cared about, explore it, and learn what that meant without having to do it in their 20s. So it's a very important series to me. I've got a panel from it tattooed on my leg. So I am very excited about this closeout to what it is. And I like that we're finishing this before we finish the series, and the last graphic novel has not come out yet. So tune in if you haven't seen it. We just finished watching all three all 3 seasons again. 4 seasons, whatever. And we cannot wait to watch this. So go check it out. It's a lovely series. Okay. And that's all the cast. Most of the cast got together, and it's wonderful seeing it. It's been fun watching this, seeing those people go out in the world and do things. Of course, Joe Locke and Kit Connor are the 2 stars, and they're out doing Broadway and whatnot now, just having wonderful careers. But it's interesting. I follow all of these people on social media. They are not their characters, right? So they are different human beings, and I think that's important. And I think, honestly, Kit Connor has caught a lot of flack because he's not his character, right? And I remind folks that these are fictional characters being portrayed by actors. They are not meant to be the people that they portray in the art. So back the fuck off and let them live.
Nice. Okay, so for my wolf of the week, I wish I had this in my hands with the time that we last recorded, when we talked about LGBT QIA plus works that we think people should sample, that we think are valuable additions to their shelves. I had talked about a backup series, a short story of involving a reboot of The Secret Six in the 1980s. And this was another short story, which I wholeheartedly recommend. There is a DC Pride event this year called Dream Girls, 4-issue miniseries. I got all of the connecting Phil Jimenez covers for this. But the backup in the last issue, in issue number 4, is an autobiographical story by Klaus Janson. And it's, and again, we got to mention him when he's in there, letters by Lucas Catoni. And it basically is a story of his coming out. It's called Heroes Just for One Day, which of course is a reference to the 1977 David Bowie song. And Klaus came over as an immigrant from West Germany and grew up in Connecticut. He always felt a little different. His family as immigrants didn't have a hell of a lot of money, so the first bicycle that he had was pink. and he was a little bit too big for the bicycle. So we see here, the first reaction, hey, it's creepy. That's a girl's bike. It's pink. What a fag, weirdo. And that's something he carried with him for a long time. And the first thing that kind of made him feel at home really was comic books. And it's interesting as you go through the story, it's the comic books that are in color, but the rest of his life is black and white. And it talks about his growing up, how he had a problem in the Boy Scouts, that how he knew he was different, and he looked up in the library a description of a book called The Fully Sublimated Homosexual, and that's when he figures out, hey, that's what he is. He goes to New York. He becomes a professional after a lot of rejection, and there comes a time where he decides he has to move to New York, and that's the last panel, and that's again just a flash of color of him in a Superman shirt. Apparently, Klaus came out publicly in 2017. I think he's in his early 60s or mid 60s at this point. But this is a much more public statement about his sexuality than, coming out in a press release connected to a project for Image. So Dreamgirls, a DC Pride event, number 4, which you probably should get anyway. And I haven't read the main series yet. But this was a very, very powerful story, and we've had a good number of those with the autobiographical content around the Pride events from DC with the Kevin Conroy and Jenny Blake Isabella, and now with this, it's worth your time to read these stories. And honestly, like if he came out and I heard about it, it just like went in and out, So I was a bit surprised by that because he's a creator who who's been active since the very late 70s.
Yeah.
But not somebody that I automatically even if there was a public statement 9 years ago, it didn't register, and that's not somebody that I would lump in as a queer creator. So very good story.
Awesome.
All right.
Oh, hold on.
What?
James, Klaus Janson?
Yes.
Klaus Janson is family?
Yep. Yeah, and you find out all about that here. I was surprised too. If James is surprised, I'm in good company.
Yeah,
I'm in very good company. Yeah.
Also, dude is yoked still. Like he's good shape for an older guy.
All right. So we're wrapping this one up. And again, we are the Comic Book Bears podcast. You can find us on most social media as Comic Book Bears. On Facebook, however, we are Comic Book Bears podcast. You're feeling very sleepy. You're feeling very sleepy. What is that?
It's Red Hulk, low level Red Hulk.
Low level Red Hulk. Yeah.
Chibi Hulk. Chibi Red Hulk.
Shitty Hulk, yeah. If you want to write to us, please do so by sending an email to Comic Book Bears. If you want to listen to us, please download us through Apple Podcasts, listen to us through Spotify, and many of the other podcatching platforms. If you joined us through Facebook Live or one of the other live feeds, thank you. If you are watching us later on YouTube, please like and subscribe. We would appreciate it. So until next time, I'm Billy Z.
I'm Steve Morey.
I'm Caleb Alexander McKenzie.
If you're listening to the audio version, you're going to hear a woof and an explosion. We'll be back real soon. Lastly, I just wanted to give a word of love and encouragement to a member of our sister podcast, Movie Bears podcast, Jim Pulafiaco, who's dealing with some health issues. So we're with you, brother. So until next time, woof bang.
Bye.
Woof.